Champions Cup, Leicester against Ulster, and I don't think Ulster are a very good second half team. I haven't done any stats on it, but my gut tells me Ulster concede more points in their second halves than they do firsts. 38-10. This game was close at halftime. Clearly it was not by full time. Nice bonus point win for the Leicester lads after being 10 points down, believe it or not. Yeah, impressive in the end. Bassett getting a hat-trick, Hassel Collins a couple. It was all the backs. Parise got the other one, and Freddie Stewart was setting them up for days. Pretty hard 70 minutes for Ulster after starting the game pretty well. We'll go through some kind of key events and some stats, and you guys can let us know your thoughts on how this one went. To be fair, I said Ulster started well. Leicester actually started with the first real try-scoring chance of the game. Ollie Hassel Collins has one of the most bizarre 50-22s I've ever seen. Usually they're kind of kicks long, but his was essentially just a big old grubber through for himself, but it ended up going into touch, into the 22, and he kicked it from his own half. So it was a 50-22, which Leicester used to set a maul. They spun the ball wide to Bassett, who basically, in his own words, just tripped over his own feet. So that little trip meant the Ulster defence was able to get across and win themselves a breakdown turnover, which was kind of a free exit. Should have been an early score to Leicester, but I mean, Bassett ends with a hat-trick, so can't complain too much, but it was a missed opportunity. First points of the game went to Ulster through the boot of Nathan Doak, and then they got the first try not too long later, which the Leicester guys won't be very happy with because it was a nothing play, really. Aidan Morgan just hoofed the ball up high, and Leicester let it bounce. They were kind of at 6s and 7s. Nick Timoney was the man to pounce on it in the confusion, and he was able to scamper over for a try. So 10 points to 0. If you're Ulster, you're thinking this is a heck of a way to start the game. They go into this one as underdogs. It puts a bit of a cat amongst the pigeons, but no. The crowd starts to get into the game. Leicester start to put in a heap of pressure. Finally, they do get the try, and it is Bassett after missing the first one. No slip this time. He's able to get the second one out wide, so 7 points to 10. And then Ethan McElroy, sadly, as things go from bad to worse for Ulster, he gets himself injured with a pretty nasty-looking leg injury, jumping, and just lands in a kind of awkward way on his leg. It looked nasty. The commentary team speculated ACL. We'll kind of have to wait and see, but yeah, not ideal. You never like to see those kind of injuries. For the game itself, though, you felt like Leicester probably should have been doing a bit better than they were. They were behind, but they were certainly, they had the momentum. Anyway, let's put it that way. The video and audio started to go out a little bit on the stream that I had. Sometimes it was the audio that was kind of cutting out every few seconds. Sometimes it was the video, so I missed a little bit of it, but did see some nice turnovers. Appreciate a good turnover as much as I appreciate a good try. Tommy Reffel getting over the ball for a turnover. Ian Henderson in reply for Ulster, likewise getting over the ball. That was pleasing to see, winning themselves breakdown penalties. But then a real kick in the guts for Ulster is the fact they could have gone into the sheds at the halftime lead. But from a high ball, as much as Leicester mucked up a high ball which led to Timoney's try, Ulster have got their own version where they knock on a high ball. Just a high ball kick, just simple. I say simple. You need to catch the ball. They don't. They knock it on, which leads to a scrum. The scrum leads to a penalty. The penalty leads to Leicester kicking for touch. They go for a maul. Then they spin it wide to those backs because the forwards weren't getting on the ball today, on the board. Kata gets his hands on it. Stewart with the try assist to Bassett, who gets his second of the half. Could have been a first half hat-trick, I guess, but if he got the first one, who knows how the rest of the game would have played out. But yeah, 12-10. So Leicester go into the sheds with a lead. Could very well have been behind. So not a bad way to bounce back, having been 10 points to 0 down. They go into the sheds with a lead. They end up with more possession and territory, but still like 55-45 and 52-48 for those two stats. They've coughed up a little bit too much ball. Leicester, 10 turnovers conceded to Ulster's 5. And their line-out is probably a cause of some of those turnovers conceded because the line-out's looking a bit scrappy for Leicester. They've had 3 line breaks to 1. They have looked genuinely, I think, the sharper of the two sides, barring a few kind of calamities in the first 10 minutes. Second half is a little bit scrappy. There's a few handling errors, but when Leicester finally get the handling going, they look a pretty good team, man. Again, it's Kata, it's Pollard, Stewart with Ollie Hassel-Collins, the recipient of that nice bit of handling. He's able to go over his first of 2. He gets the second not long later. It's maybe more impressive because he's able to bust a tackle or 2. Likewise is Freddie Stewart with his third try assist. 24-10. It's starting to look a long way back for Ulster. And Ulster can't really get out of their own half. They didn't really have an answer to it. And then Bassett gets his hat-trick try to keep Ulster in that kind of miserable part of the field down their own end, under their own sticks. Chip and chase. The ball bobbles. Ulster just can't grab it. It's just one of those days, isn't it? As I said, second halves for Ulster just don't seem to be their thing at the moment. So with Stewart kicking the conversion, it is 31-10. And then Ulster, they kind of, is it bad to worse? Is it imploding? I mean, they actually had some ball around the middle of the field. They started to shift it wide. Even though there were more Leicester guys wide than they had players themselves, Ulster, I would have thought maybe track it back into your forwards, but they kept spinning it and just to nobody. And Leicester pounced. I think it was Bassett who pounced on it. Parise is able to finish it 39-10. I mean, that was on 63 minutes, so there was still plenty of game to go, but there was no more scoring. Ulster did have a little bit of ball in that 17 minutes, but didn't do a heck of a lot with it. So, good second half from Leicester, looking pretty sharp, as I mentioned. Some really good tries from the backs, but Ulster, I don't think, did themselves a heck of a lot of favours. The possession finishes 60-40. Territory finishes 59-41. Line breaks is 8-2. The right team won this game. Penalty count 10-5 with Ulster conceding doubles. So, yeah. They still got some good players, Ulster. Nick Timoney made 21 tackles. Tommy Reffel for Leicester made 3 turnovers, which is what he does. Bassett had 3 clean breaks. Parise had 3 clean breaks. Hassel-Collins had 2 clean breaks. Parise had 12 defenders beaten. Some crazy stats here, folks. I mean, Stewart had 5 defenders beaten as well. 3 try assists. Yeah, they played some nice rugby, particularly in that second half. But yeah, they've got Toulouse next. So it doesn't get any easier. And the Ulster lads will go home to face Exeter, which they'll be looking at that one as a game to certainly bounce back, because Exeter haven't been having the happiest time in 2025, late 2024 as well. But yeah, you guys let us know your thoughts on this game if you watched it. From a close game at halftime to a pretty easy bonus point win in the end for the Tigers lads. You guys take care of yourselves, and yeah, I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.